Don't forget to smash that like button. And if you haven't subscribed already, click that subscribe button. Trust us, it'll be worth it. Thank you. What is up, everyone? I am Chris Knight, and you are watching The Real Review 3000, and this is the weekly wrap-up. Typically, we do these on Friday. This week, I pushed it off and other things, and kind of took the weekend off, and you know, sometimes it happens. But do me a favor, guys, real quick. If you would, please tweet us out and smash that like button. If you are a follower of my Twitter, I have a tweet that just came out, so go ahead and just pass that one off, and that'll be the easy way to go. But yeah, the more the merrier, always. Hey, Austinator, Rosetta, hello. But let's talk about this week. Of course, everybody's links are down in the description box because that's how I do this. Give me a second while I move everything around here so I can tell what the hell I did this week. So much goes on, you never absolutely remember. Dandelion, how you doing? Hello, hello. So yeah, this week, looks like we got 4 videos out. I know one day, I think Tuesday, I was unable to do it. Trying to remember what came up, but just lots of things this week were kind of screwy. First off, let's start with last Sunday. Even though it's technically the last show of the week for Chaos Central, it starts out the week. So I know it's really funny. We start on Mondays with Chaos Central. That's hence the chaos, you know. Karen, how you doing? Thank you very much for being here. But on Sunday, we had the Rule of 3 with Danny and Nzo over here on my channel and on Chaos Central. Speaking of which, guys, let me put that in the let me go here, and I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys. Do me a favor, if you are not yet subscribed to Chaos Central's YouTube channel, please go over there and subscribe. We're trying to get up to 100 subscribers so we can get what we call vanity link. If you don't know what a vanity link is, up here when you type in the address for The Real Review 3000, if you don't just click on the link or something, you can go and type in, you know, youtube.com/The Real Review 3000 and you get here. Well, right now, that link that I just put in there, yeah, I know. Trying to remember if that was the day I got called into work on my day off. I think that's what happened. I got called in kind of late, and I'm trying to remember. I push things out of my mind that I don't have to worry about anymore. And then my mother's had a problem with her plumbing underneath her kitchen sink, so I had to take care of that too. I think that was all Tuesday. Yeah, it was. But guys, do me a favor, go over to the Chaos Central YouTube channel and please subscribe to that. We're going to be doing the Rule of 3 at 2 o'clock today, or 3 o'clock, I'm sorry, 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 2 o'clock my time, but 3 o'clock Eastern Standard Time today. So hopefully you'll come over and watch that. Really fun time. But on this past Sunday, Sunday before here, we did the Rule of 3. Of course, Danny, Nzo, myself, basically put a bunch of topics on a wheel. We spin, we take 3 topics. We have 3 minutes to talk about them. Then we talk about them for 3 minutes together. And there's 3 of us, hence the name, The Rule of 3. But it's always a fun time. Everybody talks about my ego. Oh, God. But that was on Sunday. And then Monday, I believe... maybe I only did 3 videos this week. Maybe I totally forget sometimes. But we did BandMade Cross. Let me look at the days here. 13th, 14th, 15th. So it looks like Wednesday I didn't do one either. I'm not understanding that, but okay. So maybe I missed 2 days this week. Anyways, weird. Hey, David, what's going on? But so Sunday was the Rule of 3. Monday, the official start of the week for Chaos Central stuff, was on Danny Graham's channel, and that is called The Chaotic Conversation. That starts at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Basically, he gives us we've been going on the sci-fi kick of movies released on a certain year. This past week, we did top 5 sci-fi movies of 2006, and I'd have to go get my list, and I forget my list, but all those shows are over on Chaos Central or on Danny's, Anzo's, or myself's channel. Again, all those links are down in the description box, so you can find those videos. But Tuesday, the Chaos List is on Anzo's channel, and basically he picks out 3 topics where we talk about those topics and discuss them. And this past week, we talked about an original sealed copy of Super Mario Brothers going for $114,000 in an auction, and if it was worth it or was that too much. Yeah, and then talked about Tenet and it's possible being pushed back. A lot of that. I was also over on Robert Storm's channel on Tuesday. That's when I had to leave to go and do the other stuff. So I was late to where was I late? Maybe Monday I was late to something. I don't know. I ignored everybody all week. I don't know. I've just been busy this week. Abraham, how you doing? Good to see you in here. But on Monday we did BandMade Cross music review. Did another one for The Warning. The End. Stars Always Seem to Fade. That was a special request. And then I did my sappy thank you video that I do for a lot of people sometimes, every so often. It's my way of trying to show everybody how much I care and appreciate everything they do. I try not to, Dandelion. I really do. I just been busy as hell. But yeah, I mean, I think that's all we did. Really kind of had a slow week. I mean, I was on a lot of different streams. I was on a stream with DJ Odyssey a couple times. We also did Name That Tune over on HanStar's channel with a special edition of 50s and 60s. Oh, you say excuses, Rosetta. But with all that said, guys, what I normally do right now is I normally put out the link. If you guys want to jump in, feel free. You guys are more than welcome to jump in. I'm going to go put this out on Twitter and all of that. If you guys want to jump in. Of course, Rosetta, just waiting. Just give me just a second, guys. Sending this out to several people. Always have to find out where I'm going here. Should I even let you in, Rosetta? Don't give me that look. Don't give me that look.
After that comment, you don't want me to give you this look, really?
And Dandelion Fluff says why I can never have an Oscar acceptance speech is because of that video that lasted 22 some odd minutes. What is the longest Oscar acceptance speech? Let's see what this says. Dandelion, hello, how you doing?
Yeah.
The record for the longest Oscar acceptance speech. Hey, Ords. Oh, wait. Ords is going to get in here in a second. Come on, Ords. Hey, Ords. What's going on?
Buddy.
Yo, all right. It is, everybody. How you
The record for the longest Oscar acceptance speech is still held by Greer Garson, accepting the Best Actress Award for Miss Miniver in 1943. It was after 1 a.m., the last award to be handed out that night. So how long was it?
10
I
minutes.
think that's one of the reasons why they put a time limit on them now.
She spoke for more than 5 minutes. Yeah, I couldn't do that.
For how long?
5 minutes.
We do
That's
that
it.
you do that every week. What are you talking about?
I know. No, what I mean is I couldn't be held to a 5-minute acceptance speech if I ever won an Oscar. I'd be like, hey, shut up. Leave me alone.
Now my ego, and now these are the people who support my ego. 40 minutes later, they'd all be sitting there going, "Could somebody just shoot him?"
No, they just send they'd send like the security staff in and just pick me up
Drag
as
you
I'm
off
talking.
stage.
And then I'd like to thank. Next thing you know, like a second or two after they took me off stage, I'd be running out. Okay, and then I have.
Make it really short. I want to thank every crazy ass person who supported me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They get one of those crazy ass hooks from was it the Gong Show or something? Those oldie timey hooks.
Well, yeah.
I'm supposed to request your assistance in a quest, chrisknight.
Oh, in what quest?
Fuel the Hatred says.
Oh yeah,
he wants me to ask you about Diablo 2
tonight.
Yeah, we can do tonight. Yeah.
Well, I thought that's what we planned. So yeah. No, I plan to help in the quest.
I need to advertise that shit
with my weak character. I don't even have my character's like I don't know. I might play a little bit to beef him up today. Maybe
that's cool.
So what do we want to talk about, guys? A random topic. Anybody want to throw something out there besides my long-winded acceptance speeches and whatever?
I just thought I'd pop on briefly to say hi.
Well, yeah, stick around. It won't take. We never run over an hour.
Well, I have stuff I'm doing today.
But you could be here and enjoy my.
I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't realize we were live.
Oh yeah.
I am going to.
Ords is like, oh.
I'm going to take
okay,
crap for this because I kind of told a friend I'd be on his channel about now, and it's his 40th birthday. But I wanted to come see Bro first.
LEG.
Yes.
Yes. No. He told me he was doing that today.
I'll stop by later. Right now, he's still doing the after church stuff.
Yo, what's up, David? How you doing in the chat, man?
Yeah. So let's see here. What happened? Oh well, I just saw today 2 things. One, 30. Let me go back to my profile. I tweeted it out here. 34 years ago today, or well, maybe yesterday, Sigourney Weaver put out a tweet saying the premiere of Aliens was 34 years ago. Good time. So yesterday, I would assume, since it was Saturday, was the premiere of Aliens. What do you guys think? Are you guys fans of that show, that movie?
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
I was too young to like. I mean, I was alive then, obviously, but I was too young to see that movie at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it was many years later. I think I was still too young when I saw it, and it was really scary. But I haven't seen it in a long time. I probably would appreciate it more now. I
love Sigourney Weaver and those movies because she is just a badass.
I was just going to say, I do love the badassness of Sigourney Weaver for sure.
And I think in today's world of movies and stuff, when people are miscasted and you don't get the right person for the right part, I think that shows that sometimes, you know, if you just take a little time, you'll find it. I can't remember if she was the first pick. I think she was like the 3rd or 4th pick for it. And when they found her, that whole series kind of really made her career. Everything she's done since then. I mean, Ghostbusters. She's been in Ghostbusters. She's been in a lot of different things.
For me, it's the balance. It's what I've seen as a difference is I wasn't a big Alien fan, but I had to admit they actually did a lot of depth, a lot of personality, a lot of soul behind the character for the female. She wasn't flat, which is what I've seen in everybody. They try to make a badass woman today is just this flat character that doesn't have much art, that doesn't have much soul, that doesn't have femininity. And it's what lacks that we had with the badass chicks in the 80s and 90s.
See, I'm like, Alien's cool, but I'm more of like, I like the aliens when they're involved with the Predator, like Predator versus Alien stuff. Like that's what I like.
I like that actually better too.
You know, I I don't know. I mean, I like the concept. I just don't know if it felt completely right to me. It makes sense because they're both alien races, and it makes sense because you could. I mean, once you open it up to space and the universe, any alien, life form from any movie could be in the same universe, which is kind of cool that they combine those two universes, because then it really makes for. I mean, you could have some awesome crossovers. Like, for instance, you can make an alien movie today that had Arnold Schwarzenegger, Danny Glover, and have the Predator in it, and basically come up with a whole new concept. And even
is it going to be like all of them, including the aliens with walkers?
Why not? I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking, okay, so they've already reincarnated Sigourney Weaver or Ripley's character once. Do it again, bring her in on it, have Danny Glover, Arnold Schwarzenegger, and just the three badass people from the three of those movies go after both of them. But the aliens and the Predators don't give a crap about them because they're fighting each other, but the others are going to get rid of them. I don't know. I mean,
wasn't there a cyborg character in the first Alien?
Yes. Actually, in both.
Wasn't he he was one of my favorite characters in that.
If I remember right, the cyborg character,
it's a really long time since I've seen that movie.
Who was the cyborg?
I mean, it was one of those things that, like, you, as a comic book fan, that we love when we see the aliens crossover with the Predator.
Bishop was the character. I'm sorry, Orts. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that, like, I think that's one thing that people really enjoyed about the Alien versus Predator stuff was it was like a true movie comic book crossover type situation, where you have the aliens who have their own franchise, the Predators got their own franchise, but they work so good within each other, and then you throw the humans in the middle of it all, and It's that's why I like that stuff. There's more complexity to the story, and that's why I like the Alien versus Predator stuff. And I'm more of a fan of Predator than I am of Alien, but I do like the whole idea, like the Queen Alien and all that shit. Like that's really cool, man. So
I think it's Spaceballs style.
Yeah.
There you go,
dude. Could you imagine an Alien versus Predator Spaceball?
My thing with all these movies is every single one of them, I feel like the time to get to know the characters is too long for how little usually you end up feeling connected to them.
Yeah,
we didn't just get to people dying.
Yeah,
I mean,
movies.
I don't see why not. I mean, they did do Archie versus the Predator comic book, so I mean, I don't see why you couldn't do something goofy like that. I think that'd be interesting to see. Just start doing ridiculous takes on like superhero crossovers or like franchise crossovers where you have like. I don't know. You have some kind of crazy alien show up in like the Truman Show universe or something, just something like wild and obscure kind of thing.
New movies a little bit like that. That was it. The Wayans brothers that did all those sort of like spoof movies?
Yeah. Like don't be a menace to South Central. Don't be a menace to South Central while drinking your juice in the hood.
Don't be a menace to South Central. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I don't know. I love that though.
I love that movie. That is such a great movie.
Movies that don't take themselves seriously are fun.
But didn't Spaceballs have a little alien ripoff? Weren't they like
at the very end?
Yeah, they had a
hello, my baby. Hello, my darling. Hello, my rotunda.
Yeah, and then turned into Mission J. Frog, basically.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, that like I think they had a lot of different references in there. It really was just making fun of sci-fi with more focused on like a Star Wars.
Yeah.
Feel to it.
Mel Brooks is every movie he did, it picked a main either movie or specific creator or thing to mock, and then it added in all these spoofs of everything else that they could think of within that genre.
Well, he always
High Society was based on making fun of Hitchcock, and they did tons of that. But if you pay attention, there's references to almost everything that was slasher, horror, and that kind of realm of the semi-sci-fi in that era.
He was always mindful of what he was doing, and he always wanted to, like, for instance, before he did Spaceballs, he went to George Lucas and he said, "Hey, I really admire what you did with Star Wars. It's excellent." I mean, he was a big fan of Star Wars. Like, Spaceballs was a love letter to Star Wars because of how much he loved it. But he did the right thing. He went to George Lucas and said, "Hey, I want to do this. Can I do it?" And the only thing, George Lucas gave his blessing, but he said one thing. And the whole reason why we get the part with all the merchandising in it and stuff is that he was not allowed to merchandise Spaceballs at all, because George Lucas said, as long as you don't merchandise it. So if you see merchandising on it right now, I'm not sure if that's changed in the years that followed, but originally it was not allowed to be merchandised. And I still think officially
They really don't now.
Yeah, it's probably bootleg.
it is probably. That's what I'm thinking, because well,
Which doesn't make it any less awesome.
no, I know. I mean,
I still want Spaceballs the flamethrower.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course there's still the rumor, and I don't know. I mean, he's so much older now. I just can't see him doing it. But there's and plus a lot of the stuff he does just isn't acceptable anymore, people think. But Spaceballs, The Quest for More Money is still, if you look out there, you can still find information on it that some people still seem to think.
But that was a running gag with him also, that every movie talked about what we would do for the next movie that never happened.
Yeah. But I think Spaceballs was the only one he absolutely had ever really talked about doing a sequel for. It was just, But what's your favorite comedy, like spoof movie?
Probably Spaceballs.
Okay.
What else? I'm trying to think of some more. Name some more of them. That
Mine would probably be Men in Tights.
There you go.
yeah.
I love both of those. I love Blazing Saddles, but I like High Anxiety more because it's more intellectual in its spoofing.
I mean, I would consider anything Monty Python kind of. I mean,
Oh God! Of course, when you get to like Holy Grail and all those, it's always just.
I love, Holy Grail is still probably my favorite, but I admire the thought process behind doing And Now for Something Completely Different, because basically that was an easy way for somebody who had never watched them over here in the States. Somebody who had never watched them, they could watch that movie and get basically what Monty Python's Flying Circus was about, because it was just their skits in movie form.
Did you guys down in the States? I think you're all in the States. Did you get Kids in the Hall?
Oh yeah,
I love Kids in the Hall. Yeah, Kids in the Hall was great. Which arguably was a huge inspiration to The Whitest Kids You Know, which is another great comedy troupe I love. The Whitest Kids You Know. Yep.
You were talking about Monty Python there. You do know Splitting Heirs, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have that.
I love that one, and most people don't know it.
Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis.
David made a good point. Young Frankenstein.
Fleece and Zeta Jones and all them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Young Frankenstein was a really good one. Yeah, I was going to bring up The Life of Brian. The Life of Brian is really probably one of the best Monty Pythons, though, because if you think about it, looking back at history, I mean, I'm not going to get philosophical here or talk about religion very much, but okay, so we know history's proven that Jesus Christ really existed. We just don't know everything else. We just know that there was a person who's been written about that was called Jesus Christ. The funny thing, though, is that to take that concept that we know somebody really existed, but what if the only reason why they were considered the prophet is because people just put that title on them? So The Life of Brian is really funny to watch when you think about it, that this guy who is nobody is prophesized and then followed, and he's like, I'm just Brian. I'm not him. And I love that concept. And then the ending is just spectacular, where they're just sitting there on the crosses being crucified, and yet you just look on the why
I can't whistle today.
I was going to say, you were talking about movies that were designed to be comical and spoofish and stuff, and go to one of the first I actually think fit that realm is the early styles of it. That I love is still Arsenic and Old Lace, going into the Halloween horrors with the comedy elements thrown in.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots of them, but I think when you talk about, okay, so the biggest problem with spoof movies is, again, you can't make them today. I mean,
no, the ones they make today usually don't have the style, because they're trying not to offend while still be over the top, and it's this weird line they tread that just falls flat.
Yeah, it's no, you're absolutely right. That's a good point.
I think that. So,
I'd like real quick. I'd like to see him make Scary Movie again. Like, make that movie today and see what would happen. Just as an experiment, you know.
I don't know. I never liked that one.
The Scary Movie.
Yeah.
The spoof movie.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
I didn't mind that, but
Right. What I'm saying, like, make it today with all the stuff that's in that movie and this woke culture we got. Make that today and see what people think of that. You know.
Yeah.
I think that the biggest problem today is that so Mel Brooks, when he wrote a movie, he made sure he made fun of everyone, because then nobody could come back and say, oh, you're doing this or you're doing that. He made fun of Jews, he made fun of blacks, he made fun of white people, he made fun of all the stereotypes, he made fun of all sorts of groups and cliques, and just because he wanted to point out the absurdities of how we view things. Make those movies today, and he'd be chastised for it. Right. And the thing is I applaud Dave Chappelle too. Dave Chappelle, is like Eddie Murphy or Richard Pryor used to be. It's all about, you have to have some ability to laugh at yourself.
I remember even when I was a kid, there were people complaining about Pryor being over the top and making jokes that were too dark and stuff. Most of those jokes were about what he was put through as a child. He was making fun of himself for going through it.
Well, yeah, I mean, he even made fun of the fact that he lit himself on fire and jumped into a pool. I mean,
that's one comedic superhero movie. What the heck was it now? It had the bowler.
Oh, Mystery Men.
Yeah, that was really funny.
I think that was actually based off of a comic book.
It was, but it was still kind of spoofing on the idea of superheroes.
I love that movie. I thought it was terrific.
I actually like that movie, considering I absolutely detest his actors usually. It surprised me when I liked it.
Yeah.
David brings up another good one. Leslie Nielsen, Naked Gun series. And you know what's funny? I can't remember what it was, but it was supposed to be called Tales from Police Squad or Police Squad the movie, because that was what the name of the series was, the one season it was on, which it was so funny to watch that. I mean, it was that one series of that show was so awesome, but it was supposed to be called Police Squad the movie, and they couldn't because there was already another movie out there called Police Squad. So that's when they changed it to The Naked Gun and then called it Tales from Police Squad. Another good one. And I like all of them, even as bad as they got there near the end. Police Academy. And then what was the one that they had? There's a Canadian version of it. There was one, because that was shot up in Vancouver.
Canadian Bacon.
What? Canadian Bacon was good. Yeah, Canadian Bacon.
I love Canadian Bacon.
Actually,
it really drives me nuts.
Strange Brew.
I have Strange Brew too.
That goes back to SCTV, and I loved SCTV. Rick Moranis and who was his brother, or who played his brother?
Dave Thomas.
What?
Dave Thomas.
Yeah. Wait, no, that's not Dave Thomas.
Or I'm sorry, thinking about
No, hold on. I'm pretty sure.
Robin Doug McKenzie.
No, because no. It's Rick Moranis. I guess it is. I could have thought. Fuck.
Look, I know Bob and Doug McKenzie's shit inside and out. You got the wrong.
Yeah, I thought that was somebody. I thought his name was something else, but I love that, and that again came from SCTV, and a lot of those guys graduated to Saturday Night Live.
Speaking of Rick Moranis, you see that he's looking at coming back.
Well, he's signed up with Disney to do the new Look Who's.
Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Yeah, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and I don't know. And with him agreeing to that, and that actually being out there, there's a lot of talk that he will show up, even if just for a short cameo in the new Ghostbusters film.
Have they finished filming that?
Ghostbusters?
I think they have. Yeah, they've been working on that for a while now.
I think
they're probably in post or something.
Hold on.
They got to be in post, man.
What did we do in the old days when we actually had to know stuff? We couldn't just look.
Yeah.
just a lot of speculation back in the day.
Well, that's what encyclopedias also were for anything that wasn't just
Well,
happening.
but you didn't print a new encyclopedia every year.
I was getting at that part when you interrupted me. I was saying, but they couldn't keep as current. It was what they actually have printed out in the last year. So other stuff was keeping up with newspapers and other shit.
Pop culture stuff probably didn't make it into a lot of like encyclopedias.
You'd be surprised.
And I'm glad, that was the thing back then. You didn't get as much of the spoilers you had to. I mean, for instance, we spent 3 years talking, and I talk about this all the time. We spent 3 years talking about Darth Vader saying he was Luke's father. We didn't have any. We didn't know. We all thought he was lying. Everybody's like, no, that's not true. That can't be true.
But isn't Vader German for father?
Yeah, it's Dutch.
Yeah.
Actually, if I remember right, Darth might be translated. Wait, hold on.
I mean, it really wasn't like a huge stretch.
I'll let him discover this point.
Yeah,
but then again,
Darth is a variation of the Dutch word for dark, and then Vader is Dutch for father, so dark father. And yes, they like they say nowadays, they're like, well, of course, everybody who was Dutch who saw that movie knew that. Oh well.
Yeah, but I don't think it was a huge leap.
No, but then again, back to the dissemination of information back then, it was a lot harder for people to understand or even look, have the ability to look up a different language. So people's ignorance would make sense back then because there's no way to actually educate yourself unless you went out of your way, read a book, you had to hunt it down. It was a little bit different back then. So people just probably didn't bother with it. Whereas nowadays I could just type it into Google and it will translate it for me.
If you thought of doing that.
Yeah. But back then you'd have to get like a book. You'd have to go to the library or the bookstore.
I don't know. I guess I knew like a little bit of different languages and stuff because
I knew a lot of those things with languages. But my family was very obsessed with know everything you can linguistically from the world. When I was a kid.
Linguistics is super cool. So
principal photography finished in October of 19. So yeah, they've been done. So I guess you'd be able to finish up all of the cool little CGI and stuff they do, which I hope they don't do a ton of CGI.
Well, I was thinking if Rick Moranis was going to be in it, we probably would have kind of heard that by
maybe.
now. Probably,
but
he'd been on set. Somebody would have leaked it.
Well, if he's working for Disney, and then who's producing this Ghostbusters film?
I forget. The son of the guy who originally made it. Or
maybe, what studio are they signed up for? Do you know?
Jason Reitman's directing it. I think his dad or him or both of them. Produced by Dan Aykroyd. Ivan Reitman, that's who else is doing it, but a lot of the same people. It's still Sony, or Columbia, technically.
Well, they pay these guys a lot of money to keep their mouth shut. So,
well, and here's the thing: everything you could have read on Rick Moranis over the past few years, if it wasn't about his family and when his wife died, you didn't get much. In fact, he was very, very, very private. And I think. Or didn't you had a video about him signing? And I think that might be where I got it from. And when you said it, I was like, "Are we sure?" Because he does. I mean, he does not tell people. And then I looked, and he actually personally has confirmed that yes, he will be doing Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, whatever it is, the reboot. Like his son or something is going to be the scientist in this one or something. I can't remember what it is, but. If he knowing him and probably his thought process is if he was just coming in for a quick cameo, whether or not when we meet Janine again in this movie, like they go to Janine's house or something and they knock on the door and maybe they're married now in this universe, maybe they're married and all it is they knock on the door. He opens the door and goes like, "Oh yeah, she's back there." And that's the only thing he does. He probably would have said, "Don't even put my name in there. Don't credit me. Don't talk about it." And then it's a kiss to the fans saying, Here you go.
And that's the whole thing. I think that would draw in more fans if they had leaked that possibility that maybe he does a little cameo. Like,
Okay,
you know, that's only my thought. It's
no,
the kind of
I
thing
understand
that
that
really
thought.
draw in like the hardcore fans.
But let's go back to the old school way of doing movies. By doing that, and then people seeing it after the fact, it makes them go out and talk about it. Dude, Rick Moranis is in it. He's only in it for 5 seconds, but you should go see this. This is so freaking.
I remember hearing from word of mouth back in the day. You guys remember the movie Little Nicky, Adam Sandler? I remember back in the day somebody saying, "Oh yeah, I went and saw that movie," and Ozzy Osbourne makes an appearance, and I'm like, "No way!" Like, yeah, no, he's in this movie, and I went and saw it just so I could get that short cameo of Ozzy Osbourne.
Sometimes just the sheer fact of word of mouth.
Yeah,
and that's what we've lost with movies these days. A lot of times is word of mouth. I mean, I totally believe that when you leak a whole script like what's happened with the Rise of Skywalker, and you get all these leaks of The Last of Us 2 and all that. I don't buy for 1 second that they're leaks. This is planned and timed to keep talk going about a movie.
Yeah,
but
keep people interested.
There's something to be said with as little as we know about Ghostbusters, because literally even the 2016 one, there was all sorts of stuff we knew about it before it came out. This one, we have a very basic premise. It's going to be kind of a pass off to a new group, but the old people are going to be in it. When I saw the farmhouse in the trailer, I said that's got to be Ray's house that he mortgaged in the first movie. It makes sense.
Right? Yeah, I didn't really think about that.
It makes sense because he said, "Terrance left me that house," and then they say, "Oh, well, everybody's got 3 mortgages these days." Well, as soon as I saw that house, it boom back to that first film. I'm like, that should be it. But then what didn't make sense is I think Egon went there after everything stopped from the second one, and that's why all the stuff's there, the car, the jumpsuits and everything. So I'm wondering if Egon, in order to, I don't know, get the house back or something, bought it back if it was lost, because you got to assume it got lost in the first movie because they lost everything, because in the second movie they're dealing with court and all that. But I think that's a good tie-in. If I were writing this story, I would have said that's the farmhouse that they talked about in the first one, because it ties two of the movies together. That the kid, the girl, I think is Egon's granddaughter. I mean, there's lots of tie-ins it looks like they could have with the original series, but they're just not telling us a ton. I liked the jump seat that they had that pops out in that scene where they're going through the main part.
Yeah, that's sick.
That's from the Extreme Ghostbusters, or the real Ghostbusters. I'm sorry.
The animated, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought that was so cool to acknowledge that.
Let me ask you this now. Like you mentioned earlier about the CGI stuff, are you hoping they do the old technique with the ghosts, how they did with the mirrors and stuff, or you don't care about the CGI?
I am a practical or old school guy when it comes to not CGI, but special effects. CGI, I go back to Jurassic Park every time. CGI is a helper. When you have no other means of doing something, use CGI. They used robots in Jurassic Park for the big Tyrannosaurus Rex paddock thing.
Pretty much every dinosaur they had some kind of like at least some kind of like head or animatronic part that they would mix it with that CGI. Yeah,
a lot of that. That's how you use CGI. Anymore these days when they're handing out budgets of, oh yeah, here's $60 million for CGI. I hate that. Now there's
a bit of a combination of both.
Exactly.
Right.
So I'm a fan of Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. It's not the best one. I don't mind it though. But so the CGI they used in that in several parts is horrible. The monkeys are just, I hate that part. But they still used a lot of practical effects. So the first scene when he gets pulled out of the trunk, that's on a soundstage. You can tell, but that's what they used to do in the older movies. And it was really cool to see that, because it's like, okay, they're still doing it the way they used to do it. And so they did some stuff with CGI, but it was a good mix, I thought.
Yeah.
And I don't know why studios just say, listen, if you can do it practically, do it. If you can't, you absolutely can't, and this is an absolute must that we do it this way, then we'll give you the money for CGI. I think a CGI budget should be set very low, and as time goes on, okay, well, we've tried this. This is the scene we've done. Here's how we did it. We did it with practical effects, but it just doesn't have the oomph we want it to have. Can you allot us money? And they go like, yes. How much do you need to do this?
It's nice when they're keeping people employed, and if it requires more employed people to do CGI than it does to do like practical effects, then more people are getting paid.
Truth be told,
more jobs.
Truth be told, like for instance,
I've known when I lived in Edmonton for a long time, so I knew a lot of the people like at BioWare.
Mm-hmm.
So more people employed is good.
Yeah, but truth be told, and Ords will go with me on this. Labyrinth. I think it took 12 people just to do Hogwarts' face.
Practical effects aren't easy. I'm sitting here painting comic stuff, and I tell you, when you do stuff by hand, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication, and it takes a lot of artists.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, Hoggle's face was controlled by a ton of people. You had one person just for the eyebrows, and to make it come to life the way they do. As a matter of fact, I was like, if you watch my Labyrinth 2 video, the article I was going over talks about how Siskel and Ebert basically gave that movie garbage reviews and said it was lifeless. And I'm like, what are you talking about? What do you mean it was lifeless? Like,
don't listen to critics.
What alive?
Don't go to a movie because critics don't.
You know what, though? The main character in Labyrinth, the woman, she drove me nuts. Like, honest to God, I just want to stand her so many times.
I love Jennifer Connelly.
Oh, and hey, just
not the actress, the character, the way she
shout out. Happy birthday to Brian May. Brian May turning 73 today.
Yes, it's true. Yeah. Real quick, $5 super chat, Lady Tariel. Thank you very much. Monty Python rules, as do you and the panel. Good journey.
Oh.
Thank you, Lady Tariel. I appreciate it very much.
Real quick, like, and it's maybe an overused example, especially on my channel because I love it so much. But the Dark Crystal Age of Resistance is a perfect example of that beauty between practical and CGI that can turn a story into something that is breathtaking, and still you can use CGI and practical effects and still stay true to the source material of the original stuff. It's just a perfect example of the amalgamation of those two things together.
Yes. No, and I mean, I look forward to stuff that I'm hearing coming out of the Jim Henson Studios. I mean, for instance, one of the best Jim Henson things that they don't get a lot of credit for is Audrey 2 in Little Shop of Horrors. That's a Jim Henson puppet. That's practical effects, people. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You could make that look good with CGI.
Sometimes it's good, but some of the stuff they really miss because Brian doesn't get everything that his dad felt and did with it. Not everything. No,
I don't know about that.
Things that have come out of that studio in recent years that are
no. Listen. Rephrase that.
Brian was all behind.
Listen. If you're talking about the Muppet stuff there for a while, I think Muppets is that owned by Disney now?
Correct.
Yeah.
So here's
that actually wasn't what I was getting at. I'll have to go over the list. I can't remember the name of it right this moment. There's a few
because
things
the only other stuff
heavily Brian and his family that did it, and they really didn't get the spirit behind
because the only thing that I knew that Brian has done outside of the Muppet stuff lately is Age of Resistance.
No, it wasn't that recent. Crap,
well,
okay.
What?
I can't remember the name. I'm trying to remember the freaking name.
Brian Henson has actually been doing a lot of things behind the scenes with Jim Henson Company.
Yeah.
He doesn't really take a lot of credit on some of the stuff because he's not that involved. I think he just kind of oversees some of it. But he has his own production company called which is Henson Alternative. And they're the guys that did Happy Time Murders, which is another good example of blend of puppetry or practical effects and CGI.
I mean, artwork wise, I absolutely think Brian understands it and is brilliant at the art. I can't explain it well without figuring out which one this one is and actually showing you guys what I'm talking about.
It's okay.
You said it's a movie he did?
It's one that he did with one of his father's grandchildren, actually. And oh Lord, it was cringe. And it
You
wasn't.
talking about Mirror Mask?
That might have been one of. That might have been.
That was
there
like
some
super
other-
heavy CGI.
Well,
Jim
it
Henson.
wasn't even that there was CGI or the effects. It wasn't even that they go gothic surrealist. There's a few things that have been done by that part of the family that are all in the gothic surrealist realm. Their
Storyteller?
stories are just really don't flow well. They don't really get the heart in it and stuff, and that's where I feel like it's lacking.
Well, I mean, because here's the thing, yeah, like with some of the stuff that they've done before, basically after Disney bought the Muppets, because Disney only owns the rights to the Muppets. That's it.
Yeah, that is true. And Disney actually bought the Muppets quite a while back. That's actually been a
Oh
long
yeah,
time.
God, early 2000s or late 90s.
Yeah,
maybe?
well, you see, when they started doing like the Christmas Carol, Pirates,
Which was good though.
Treasure Island. Yeah, but
In
that
the
was-
90s when Disney had partial ownership before they got full control.
no, they bought the rights to use the characters with, and then Jim Henson Studios worked with them, much like how Marvel originally did stuff.
That's what I'm saying. They had Henson Studio was more involved with it back when they first bought it. They had more contracts and requirements back then.
As far as I know, Henson Studios is still involved with anything Muppets.
Not as much.
No.
I'm not saying they're not. I'm saying they're not as much now.
No, is the Muppet stuff is all done by Disney at this point. And as a matter of fact, Steve Whitmire, who took over the Kermit position after
Jim.
Thank you. Brain fart. After Jim Henson died, Steve Whitmire took over the position, which they started bringing all these new people that Disney decided to bring in, and Steve Whitmire would have issues with some of the stuff. Hey, this isn't in the true vein of what the original Muppets were intended. That Disney would try to change it. I mean, hell, even if you watch that one season of the Muppets that they had on NBC.
Oh God, that was horrible. That's not.
There are some things about it I really enjoy, but then there are some things about it I'm like, this is not the goddamn Muppets. And I see why Steve Whitmire would like bring up, hey, eventually, basically, they got tired of listening to him, and then they let him go, and then they brought in a new guy.
Is that the one where Garth Brooks was on it? Because that episode with Garth Brooks was freaking hilarious.
Which is that the Muppets?
Yeah, like the new Muppet Show one that they did.
I think it was the third generation of Muppet Show, because there was a run for a few years in the 90s as well that actually was.
That's the one I'm thinking of.
Well, they did. Let's see, they did.
Like that episode with Garth Brooks. I mean, I highly recommend just looking for that one, Muppets Garth Brooks, because
I don't like Garth Brooks. I don't like
Garth Brooks either. But he does this awesome.
I can't stand him. It irritates me.
He does this awesome Tom Jones.
No.
And like,
I'm gonna kick you out if you don't like Garth Brooks.
Underwear on him. It is just so hilarious.
Yeah.
Obviously, I am not a Garth Brooks fan. I don't feel one way or the other about him. But
you don't feel one way or the other about him
on that show.
Has always rubbed me wrong. So
hey, I'm kicking you, Rosetta. I'm kicking you.
No, you're not.
I mean, if you guys remember, I think in the mid.
Bring me back up if I flip you off.
So if you guys remember in the mid 90s, the Muppets actually had a talk show which introduced a couple new characters, the Muppets Tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And then a reiteration of Muppet Show.
See, and then they're actually doing another talk show with Elmo. I think it's like, not so late with Elmo or something like that.
Yeah. The original Muppet Show could go dark. It could do twisted humor. It could do all that, but it still had that family style. It still had this appeal where it was still across the board. It was like freaking You're Always Welcome at Our House, where they're talking about a child that's a serial killer. And it was still cute. It was charming.
It was like the first step in finding a way to get kids and parents to sit down but laugh at the same thing or different things. And you see, we got Shrek now. We got all these other movies that do it now, but they perfected it originally. And I mean,
before I forget, because I was actually doing a comparison on them here. The reason why I feel it falls flat now, because they had it then. They had that magic where both sides could watch it. It wasn't so dark. It wasn't so horrible that kids couldn't watch. It wasn't so childlike and simplistic that parents were annoyed. They tried to do that with the 90s one, and overall it actually did, even though it was more based on spoofing the talk shows and stuff. It was still a reiteration of it and still had some of that. When the stuff I tried to watch, the re-release they did, was horrible. There were ridiculous sex and drug jokes and stuff. It's like, I wouldn't let a kid watch this.
Well, I know where they lost me with the newer Muppet 30-minute sitcom thing was when they split up Miss Piggy and Kermit. I was like,
and then they had
that's not Muppet.
Advertising it on.
I know.
They were advertising it on a joke on the frogs licking each other to get high. I'm sorry. No, you don't play that to kids.
No, that's still really funny.
It's funny, fine, for an adult-themed show, but when you're doing Muppets and it's supposed to have an appeal to both.
I think there's been too many like Muppety things that were like Meet the Feebles and stuff that were totally not for kids at all.
And I don't mind.
They were trying to like be a little bit over the top.
I don't mind comics. I don't mind cartoons. I don't mind puppets and stuff having completely adult-themed shows. But it's not Muppets.
No,
Muppets
absolutely.
are supposed to be a cross point where both connect.
Although I did really enjoy that original Greg the Bunny. That was funny. I bet it was kids, but that was funny.
I just think that I don't know that Hollywood has lost sight of what these things originally were for, and the careful line they walked for so many things. Okay, put it this way, and this is a really, I guess, weird way of putting it, but if you watch The Labyrinth, the one thing I always noticed is they didn't put a freaking different pair of pants on David Bowie. The guy's walking around with
It's ballet pants. You can see.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sitting there going like, here's a kid's movie, and we're not saying anything about that, but I think the thing they're thinking is kids aren't going to overtly be paying attention to that. I don't notice it. I didn't notice it when I first watched it. I do now.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, real quick. Hey, I'm back. Here's the thing with that. He was wearing yoga pants before yoga pants was a thing.
Yeah.
But it was different. People didn't wear that stuff. You had to. This was like a dream thing. Like, you know what I mean? This was a different place, a different universe, a different existence. So of course that, that's going to be different. But yeah, you're right. As a kid, you don't notice that. But as an adult, you're like, holy shit, that guy's packing. But real quick, we were talking about earlier, that Muppet show. Here's the thing. I think what they were trying to do, what the intention was with that, was they were trying to gear towards the audience who had grown up with the Muppets. How can we have that audience relate to the Muppets nowadays? Oh, let's put them in this office setting because that's what these people of this generation are doing now. When you're right, instead of trying to play to an audience, just let it be what it is. Stick to the original source material. The happy-go-lucky Kermit, not the angry Kermit who can't stand Miss Piggy. And like, I understand Miss Piggy and him having relationship issues. Cool, I get it. Yeah, that's fine. But make it part of the story. Don't let it happen. Let's see it happen over time. Let's build more passion for that relationship. But I just think they were trying too hard to play to the audience they thought they were going to, this was going to work with, and they, instead of just sticking to what the Muppets originally were.
Well, that's the thing.
I don't know. I don't want to be like that person, but honestly, I never liked Miss Piggy and Kermit as a couple. I always preferred it when they were not a couple.
I
don't know. It's like going back to the Flash thing, right? Like, it's like the couple that's the couple. It's like, why aren't they a couple?
Yeah, well, you see, I'm okay with that if they had never set it up, or if they always played off of that quote unquote, and this is a weird way to put it with puppets, but that sexual tension they always had before they became something. I'm okay if they had kept it like that. But once you went with the Muppets Take Manhattan, once you married them, now you've made your bed, lie in it, and deal with it. Except, and I understand that in the world today, a lot of people get divorced. Maybe that's where they were playing it. Maybe that's where they were going with it, that they were having those relationship problems. But you're playing this for one, people who are now adults who were kids when you first were out.
Well, to be honest, I don't think that was technically a legitimate marriage in that movie.
Well, the thing is also
I don't know. Are we going to get into the technicalities of the puppet movie?
We'll go there, brother. We'll go there.
They claim
don't go there. Don't. Sorry.
But I'm just saying. Oh, sorry, Rose. Go ahead.
Cats together.
Rosetta, go ahead.
I don't know what I was saying anymore.
Okay, just calm down. Relax.
I'm calm and laughing right now because you guys don't pay attention sometimes.
Okay.
Wait.
Here. All right. Go ahead.
Now she doesn't remember though. She said it.
Hey, that's not my fault.
Talking about the separation.
My brain doesn't maintain stuff well.
Talking about the separation of
and Kermit.
yeah.
I think that what I was trying to get at is they claimed that they were, well, the kids deal with breakups in the family all the time. Well, yes, and there's a lot of family and kids shows out there already that already deal with divorce, breakup, family drama, stuff like that. Can we not have something that shows a happy family for once? People that don't break up.
Here's the thing. I think you can have the breakup, you can have that stuff, but it's how we portray these characters and how they deal with it. It's the same reason we like these superheroes. They give us a moral structure. Now, if we see, okay, yeah, people struggle, but how do they deal with that struggle? That's, I think, what really makes an interesting character, how they deal with that struggle. Because you can't just not have that stuff because that's not life. You want to have some semblance of reality, something people to relate to. But teaching them how to get themselves out of that, I think is.
And again, it's okay to have that, but it doesn't have to be every character in every show and every movie. Let's have some happy families that don't break up for once.
Here's the thing, though. Does that make for interesting content? I mean, isn't that basically what these SJW people want? Like, it's gotta be done a certain way.
Family be broken.
What's that?
You don't have to have every family be broken.
Well, no.
Interesting families and
right.
There are plenty of sitcoms and shows over the years that had solid, stable families, but there was all kinds of drama they dealt with and all kinds of things they dealt with that was still good TV.
I can't remember any of them, so they must not be that good.
What?
Well, that's you.
Which give us some examples.
Well, how about the parents of Boy Meets World for one?
Yeah, they had issues, man.
Everybody has issues.
Yeah,
There's a difference between a family's good family. They're good to each other, but they have issues versus every family breaks up, every family's broken, every family hates each other. Stuff.
Married with Children, right?
Oh, I loved Married with Children. So that was the way to do it, though, is that it's a complete satire of a dysfunctional family and how, even though they're dysfunctional at times, the dad still cares about the kids. The dad still cares about the wife. The wife still does care about, but it's just a complete lackadaisical sense of.
Right. It culminates to a moral understanding at the end of the episodes. Things are messed up, but at the end of the day, we still have each other, sort of thing. So I want to see my characters fall short and redeem themselves. I mean, that's the whole hero's journey, isn't it? I want to see dysfunction turn into happiness because it gives me
comment to chat here because I'm not saying that we can't have no drama. I'm not saying that drama and family issues don't happen in every family. I'm saying we don't need every family to be a broken family, which is what they're turning it into now.
Yeah.
Right, and you see that in movies and stuff like that. I mean, let's say there's the character that does have the bad family. He's got a friend who maybe has the ideal family, and you could see, oh, hey, look, it is possibly to be a functioning home or whatever the case. Yeah, I'm just saying that, like, if you focus on a family that doesn't have problems, it doesn't make for very good entertainment. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying
don't have problems. I'm saying the other, because this is what you get in movies now. It's either you have these families that are completely broken, everyone hates everybody, and they're trying to destroy each other, or you have the neighbors that are thrown in as this cliche stereotype of suburbans that are these little perfect glassed over people, and neither is. There's so many good families in this world that have drama and aren't fucked up.
I got a show for you. That's funny that you say this. That brings all of this shit together, even the practical effects. That brings all of this stuff together that you want, and the show still holds up today. And you want to know what that show is? Elf.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No.
If you go back and watch that show, it still holds up. and it's got the puppet with the practical effects. It's got that nice heartwarming family, but they do deal with their struggles and stuff. Yeah, no, man, you're right. They need to make some more things like that, maybe that might bring a little joy to the world.
That's what I'm saying. Let's not show people that the only option that'll ever happen is a broken family. Let's show all of it.
Right. I get it. Well, it was funny you say that too, because they had the typical the stereotype neighbors too. The big guy who smokes his cigars and his crazy wife who's nosy all the time and shit. Yeah, totally.
That's true.
I have actually known people like that in real life. I have
a show with lots of drama, but they always got each other's back.
Yeah, I loved Alf. That's a great show.
Yeah, I don't know. I think things get way too political anymore these days, and I don't know. I just want to watch something and have I don't know. I like to be suspended in disbelief at times, and
I agree on that too.
Yo, what's up, memes? What's up, Stig?
Stig, how you doing?
Because we were talking about Muppets, there we're talking about things that are aimed for families, and when it's something that kids watch all the time too. Yes, I realize we need some things where they can relate to. Yeah, family breakups happen, things like that happen, because that does happen. Kids need to know they're not alone in the world when that happens. But we also need something where people aren't made to feel like they're freaks, that their family is actually stable.
Yeah. Well, we've been going for an hour, so that's where I normally like to cut these off at. And guys, I want to thank all of you, Dandelion, Ords, Rosetta. Thank you very much.
I was into it, man. I was like, let's keep going, but that's cool. I get it.
Yeah, I also have a stream in an hour, so that's the other.
We can always run our mouths backstage after if we still want to keep talking.
Yeah, but hey, Kansas Geek Man, thank you very much for being here. This guy I want to say real quick. This is cool because I hope to work with him on some stuff. He's actually from around here. I like
you don't say. Kansas Geek Man.
I had to check.
Who would have thought it?
What?
Who would thunk it? Kansas Geek Man.
Yeah, well, hold on. People in their Twitter handles and stuff. Sometimes, I've asked people before when I've seen stuff like this, like, hey, are you around here? And they're like, oh no, I used to live there. I grew up there. That's why I use it. And I'm like, okay. And I expected that to be from him. It's like, oh no, I'm here. So, yeah, Kansas City represent. Hold on, just a second. I gotta go to the stream and see. Marcia D sent us a super sticker. So hold on while I go see what it is, so I can actually describe it.
I got it pulled up. It's a pear.
Eric?
A little pear. Yeah, it's a little dancing pear. Kick-ass little pear.
It says, hey, you.
Oh, okay. Hold on. I want to see it. So,
Yo, quick question since we're talking about Kansas City. What is the best food in Kansas City? Like, if you had to pick a dish to go out and eat, what would it be?
Barbecue.
I was going to say, is it barbecue?
I mean, I don't know. There's a really good Greek restaurant here. We have a Gordon Ramsay steak here, which is really good. In fact, that's where I work. We have it. So I got a free meal before they opened.
So I guess I do have to come down and hang out.
Yeah. You definitely should.
So watch out, Kansas Geek Man. I'm coming, and we're gonna hang out.
That's cool. Thank you, Mr. $2. I'll put it up here because it's not going to show it. It's going to say that you did donate $2. I appreciate it very, very much. Jeez, Rosetta. I gotta wait for it to finish down here. $5 from Rosetta. Love you, brother. The panel is insane to be on. Be amazing, and no, I love you, precious bro. Thank you, Rosetta. I appreciate it very much. Okay, so let's wrap this up, guys. Barbecue is where I tell folks when they come in for Kansas City Joe's is consistently rated either 1 or 2 in the country.
Yeah, I think I might have to just make my way down there for a weekend, Mr. Knight.
Yeah, I can get you a deal on a hotel room.
Yeah,
so. I do need to come over and see you again sometime.
All right, though, guys. Lots of good food, though. I will say that. But guys, thank you very much, Dandelion Fluff, Ords, and Dandelion. Just go ahead and tell people a little bit about yourself.
Just a random person hanging out on the internet.
Yep. And then Ords, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself, where they can find you, all that.
Well, I'm Ords Bored. You guys can find me at youtube.com/Ords Bored, where I'm doing pop culture news and video game streams. You guys can also find me over at the Drunk 3PO channel from time to time, where I'm on his streams and doing content for him every now and then. You guys can also find my work at Omni Lucid Media Games on YouTube as well. If you guys like Vikings, if you guys like board games, come check us out. I'm also doing a pop figure giveaway right now. If you head to my channel, you'll see the video there. Click on it, leave a comment. You're entered in to win some pop figures. I show you what they are. We talk about it. And I've got some merch coming out soon. So stay tuned to the channel. Come on over and hang out, guys. Chris Knight, thank you for having me. Chris Knight of The Real Review 1000 and Chaos Central.
Yes, sir. So do me a favor, Rosetta, go ahead and tell everybody about yourself.
Pretty simple. Everyone knows I'm the crazy mouthy artist with a very short attention span. I dropped the link because I'm too lazy to try to describe to you where to find it. Other than that, pay attention to this. Follow it for Twitter because the other's gone. So there we go.
That's how it happens. Okay, guys. Yeah, I'm Chris Knight. You've been watching The Real Review 3000. Do me a favor. If you're not yet subscribed, that little red button down there still says subscribe. Please hit that. Trying to get to 3,000 subscribers. I always appreciate the super chats. You can also donate to the channel through PayPal and
I know I
Streamlabs.
forgot to hit that red button.
Yeah, I know. You're just horrible about that. But all the links you can help with the channel, donating and all that is down in the description box. Also, do me a favor. Here in an hour about, we're going to be on I'm going to be on this channel again, but we're also going to be over on Chaos Central doing the Rule of Three with Danny Graham of Comic Chats, Nzo of Biggerford Entertainment. And there's the link. I just sent it. Do me a favor, go to there. If you're not yet subscribed to that, please subscribe to Chaos Central so we can get that vanity title. It really helps with putting stuff out there so we can tell people about ourselves. But I hope you guys join us then. Everybody who came today, all three of you, Dandelion, Ords, Rosetta, thank you so very much. I appreciate everything you guys do for the channel. I appreciate every one of you that are watching right now. And again, I really just can't say it enough. I said it on Friday, but I'll say it again. There are so many people I want to thank because of where I'm at now. And anybody who thinks when they get anywhere and YouTube can't do it on their own or they can do it on their own is ridiculous. No, we can't. And it's because of you guys. I really appreciate it. So again, guys, thank you. Thank you to the people who have been watching today. And thank you to everybody else. Everybody, just go ahead and say goodbye.
Bye. Good night, Gracie.
Goodbye.
Hey guys, thanks for checking us out. Be sure to subscribe to both channels, and make sure to check out our friends in the Fandom Minutes. You can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and BitChute, and you can also send us an email at sean@seanstackhousereacts.com and chrisknight@therealreview3000.com. And be sure to swing by our Teespring store to pick up some awesome merchandise.